Canada Day, Bulldog's birthday. To different extents, we're celebrating all of these things in studio, the Just Called Jed studios today, by the way. Glad to have you with us, even including those of you who watch the stream on Twitch and YouTube. Thanks for that. With us now on the Wester Hotline is Rob Ray, who goes back, Bulldog, a long time with you. I thought it'd be great to talk to Rob today, considering everything that's happening. Rob?
Good Lord, we do.
Thank you.
What Hall of Fame is next for you, by the way? You're just...
I don't know, guys. 2025 must be a really slow year out there, so they're just trying to fill holes.
Buffalo broadcasters.
Right. On the heels of the Sabres honor from this past January as well. So we go back. We go way back. I was interning, I think, when I met you.
Yeah, we used to do those remote shows at different places, and that went on for a few years. And it was good. We always had fun. You're one of the few people that I think really can relate to me and understand me.
Well, I take that as a very high compliment.
No, you should, because there's not many people out there that can.
Bulldog gets you, Rob, you're saying. He gets you.
Yeah, and like I said, my family doesn't even get me sometimes.
Yeah. Well, I sat and watched you sign every autograph for every kid countless times, hours past your, arranged time for the hour for our show. And I'm going to tell you this, not that I would never put myself on a par with you from a popularity standpoint, but I took notes from you, like how you treated people. I learned a lot sitting next to you. You might not have thought that I was taking notes, but I was taking notes.
And I think that's smart. I think you learn from your elders a little bit, and I learned from other guys and family, and so you pass those traits on, dog. And it's good that you're open enough and not too proud that you can't learn along the way. So that was good.
Elders? Rob, I'm 60 today.
Yeah, well, there's not many people older than what you are, but they, even though they're gone, you still have to consider those help along the way.
Rob using the Paul material here, which I appreciate.
Don't compare me to Paul, please. I will hang this phone up right now.
If I may, did you have to learn that sort of magnanimous approach to fans? And, because sometimes I'm sure it can be frustrating, but was that something that came naturally to you, or did you maybe have a mentor or somebody you looked up to in this way?
Nah, you know what? I grew up in a town that only had 1,200 people, and when you knew everybody and you didn't want to pick anybody off or you didn't want to be friends with, because there was only a few people there. So, no, I think it's this way my family was all the time. My family had a business, a fire machinery business, and growing up and just watching how my mom and dad treated people when they come into our place. And I think it was just, kind of the way everybody was. And it just kind of instilled you. But there was guys like, when I first got here, Mike Ramsey, Mike Foligno, all those kind of guys that really took the time, pulled you aside, and gave you hints on how to deal with different situations and deal with people too, because they had gone through it in a totally different way. So, yeah, I think you're crazy if you don't learn from people that have gone through it. And, I respect the heck out of those guys, so I was more than willing to sit back and take in everything they were going to offer.
Well, I'll say that I also have admired that about you from the 716 days, and even while being the way you are, having fun to poke fun at certain fans like that Rangers guy.
Except for that time when that Ranger guy wanted to really fight.
Well,
you.
Some people just deserve it.
Sometimes
if you're going to put yourself out there like that, sometimes you just have to expect it, and you better have thick enough skin to take it. That's the problem now. Too many don't have thick enough skin to take it.
And that's where you come in. Rob Ray on the Wester Hotline. So are you, I'm feeling maybe not, but are you sort of glued to social media today, tracking signings?
No. No, you know what? By the time the season's over, I just had enough, and I just kind of walk away for a few months, and then I'll start looking at it later on. Like even, going down to see the kids at Dev Camp and that, whatever. I'll see those guys in a few years, and right now hey, it's family time. It's my time. I served my sentence all winter, and now it's time for myself.
Works.
I can get behind that. Yeah. Well, what do you think of the idea that Byram is like the last piece I mean, I assume you are following it closely enough to know that the Sabres have been efforting to trade this player, and that they have, I think, a pretty significant hole to replace because of the Peterka move. I like the players they got in the Peterka trade, but I think they need to turn Byram into something to help supplement what they lost in Peterka's offense. What do you think of that?
Well, Bowen Byram he's a heck of a player, and everybody knows it out there. So if you are going to move him, you're going to should get a really nice return for it, and you should be able to fill the holes that you have by doing that. If you don't trade him, then who cares? He's fantastic. You sign him and let him continue to play, and your D got even better. But no, you know what? It's a game. You don't do it all at once. It's one leads to another. You know, you let Sam go today, and you know, you save a couple $1 million. You can use that towards something else. I think the whole plan is all the time with anybody. It's the little ones adding up to make that bigger one. That you know, it just doesn't always come at once. It may take some time.
How about sort of like the youth at this point on the Sabres, yeah. Rob? It's been a young team for a long time. You had Kulik emerge this year. I think maybe we wanted to be hopeful, and still can be, that like there'll be a Rochester influx coming, but I don't know, it hasn't really manifested yet. And you hear Kevin Adams talking a lot about like pushing this year. I think, you know, re-signing the guys they did late in the season in Zucker and Greenway was, you know, a move toward that. So there's got to be some urgency here, I would think, at this point.
No, yeah, but that's I say there's a key of signing those guys because they're well respected in the room and in different ways and with different groups. You know, not one guy influences the whole group, so you have to have different style of players, different personalities to influence, you know, the different players you have in your team. I think that's a smart move on their part. They're so well respected that you know they become those leadership roles, and even if they don't know it, they're in it. That it's smart, and I think the young guys you have, yeah, we have a young team, but they've been through an awful lot, man. They've had highs, lows, you know. So these guys are maturing so much quicker than guys, and getting the opportunity to play faster than guys on other teams, maybe even better teams, because A, they're not playing as much, they don't play as big a role. There's a lot of factors that go into it, and I think that hopefully the young guys that are here are taking all that in, and it speeds that process up a little bit.
Sabres have signed goalie Alex Lyon today, and also winger Justin Danforth, who spent 4 years with Columbus, 31 goals in 4 seasons. Goalie is interesting right now, Rob.
Yeah.
With this move with Lyon, not for big money, but somebody who's been in the league a long time. Seems right to me that they would have wanted to add a veteran goalie. He comes in for Reimer, I guess. But what do you think they should do or will want to do with their other goalies, namely Luukkonen and Levi? Is it a sign that maybe Levi is still maybe destined for Rochester, or should they want to move somebody? What do you like here?
You know, that it does open that door if they did decide to move somebody, but I think you got to have that third guy, even that fourth guy that maybe in your mind is always pushing the other guys too. They got to get better. They get pushed. If they get comfortable, then they're not improving the same. You know, Ryan's been around. He's been around a lot of different places. You know, you've got to keep Luukkonen and Levi playing as much as possible, whether it's here, there. You know, I don't think you have one here play a majority of the games, the other guy sitting on the bench. I don't know if that's good for them. I think as much as they can play, it's going to be better off for them. A guy like Lyons coming in is kind of the outsider. He could be that guy that, you know, just sort of plays the minimum and allow these other two guys to battle it out. So whether it's here or in Roch. But it's a position you got to play. It's not a position you can get better in practice. Yeah, you work on fundamentals in practice and all that, but it's totally different in the game. So whomever and both of those guys, I would say they're at the top of your priority list, that you've got to play them and have them play as much as they can in either place. And you can't have them sitting for long periods of time and not thinking that, oh, you're just being a third goalie here and, you know, you're going to play sparingly and you all of a sudden you get 3 guys even in practice. You don't get the same net time. You don't get the same work time. It's tough. So whatever Lyons is here all year as a backup role and you know, Levi up and down, or the two of them are here and Lyons down there, they got to play. and especially Levi and Luukkonen.
Well, I definitely agree, and it took them a while here. I mean, it's wild to think about how it started for Levi showing up at the end of that season right out of college and goes right in and plays, and then the new season comes around and he's opening night and like here we go, and that lasted like 4 games or something, or I don't even know. But now they're letting him cook, and I think that's good.
I think it is too. I think you look at all the good teams in the past; those kids have, as you said, cooked in the minors and learned, and then they start coming up together. It's hard when 1 or 2 comes up at a time. You want 2 or 3 of them coming up and they're a part of it. But I just think with the goaltending thing, they mature at different times too. It's very similar to a D. Some guys are on a faster pace, some guys are on a different pace. But I think it's important too having them here for periods of time. Learning the league, learning the players. Being around the NHL side is much more inspiring. That if you do go back down, it keeps pushing. You know what you're missing to work to get back here too.
I have a feeling I know the answer we'll get to this, but this is another off season here where harder to play against. Size certainly seems to be at a premium for them with certainly some of the draft picks that were made on Friday and into Saturday, Rob. I say it's familiar because last year was a lot of this too. They kind of remade the third and fourth lines both, really. And now we're kind of doing that again to an extent. Would you say that is certainly called for? Is it the thing that might be what's holding them back the last few years, that they just don't have enough pushback and enough size and toughness to handle the heavier teams?
Well, I think they did a decent job last year filling in that third, fourth line, but I think the big thing they're trying to do now is stiffen up that defensive core a little bit. Darlene Power, these guys, by them. They're not going to be your most physical guys out there, but you need somebody to carry that load. And I think by bringing in a couple of guys that they did, that it will help in the defensive zone. It'll be, a little harder to play in front of the net, a little harder in the corners, all that kind of thing. And then it loosens up those guys as well. If everybody's the same kind of player, it's hard. But if you got, a little bit of grit on each pairing, then it makes such a huge difference. It just takes the wear and tear away from Dolls and Powers and these guys where they can go play their game. So I like how they've put a little size and a little more bite back there on the back end, and I think that's going to help it huge.
Sabres announced the signing of Tyler Kozak to a 3-year deal.
Tyson Kozak,
thanks. Paul liked I'm only saying that Paul liked him, Rob. I'm not starting a Paul thing, but Paul liked Kozak last year. That was
one of the few smart things Paul said. Yeah. I love it. This kid is smart out there, and it's not all about the points and all that. He's so sound defensively. He reads the play really well. He's a great skater. To play the game, he plays the game the right way, and I think he can play with just about anybody out there in any situation. I like the kid. I think he brings an awful lot, and a lot of the times maybe offensive side, everybody looks and he doesn't score enough. He brings so much more to the game, by playing the game right than most do.
Florida, Rob.
Yeah,
so
pretty good, eh?
I'm guessing that's a team. Bulldog was just gaga over this Panthers team. How they play? You?
Yeah, but I'm not worried about them next year.
Really?
Why? You think they're just getting out of gas 3 straight trips?
They're not even going to sober up in time by the time the season starts next year, so it's going to be a challenge for them. I do the same thing. But, no, it's deep, man. It's deep, and you know what I like now that they're all starting to stay there, take less and stay, and that's what you got to kind of build. These guys want to be a part of it, and it's not always the money. It's the majority of it's the winning and being in that atmosphere and around that. Listen to anybody and talk to guys around that organization, how tight these guys are. They spend a ton of time together. So it's a pretty cool place to be right now. Obviously changes in time, but it's so deep. They're so physical and hard to play against and in your face the whole time. They got great goaltending. It's offensively, they got guys that can fill the net. Yeah, it's a pretty nice group.
So best for the Sabres if they can play their 3 or 4 games against Florida right away.
Get them early.
Right away.
Florida early in the season.
Right. Get them early.
That really turned pretty quickly You know, I mean, it's, hard to maybe think back on because there are 3 straight Stanley Cup finals here now, but it wasn't that long ago, Rob. You'd turn a game on, you worked games there where you'd look at the crowd and think, like, how is this sustainable? There's just nobody here. I mean,
I remember
it's
being
a
in
terrible
Florida
market.
one night, and I'm being in Florida one night, and RJ turned to me and he goes, "Don't talk too loud because we're going to echo through the whole building," because there was nobody there. There was 5,000 people or 8,000 people, whatever it was. And it just goes to show you that the product on the ice fills the building, and that's exactly what's happened there. And now it's a going concern. And now they think they're the greatest thing in the world, and it's tough, but it's just the way it is.
Speaking of the broadcast, before you go, Rob, we've all known Joe Pinter a long time. Sorry to read about his departure from the team.
Yep. No, Joe, good guy. I'll tell you what. The little bit I do know about this business, I learned from Joe, and he was such a great guy to work with and good friend. And you know what? It's pro sports, man, and everybody has shelf life, and everybody knows that going into it. And hey, Joe is a good enough guy, knows enough people, smart enough guy. He'll be doing something, and I think he's just happy to try something different.
Producer on the Sabres broadcast for a long time. Since they were on Empire, that's how I met Joe.
Right.
He was working in that role when I was over there.
Long time. Yeah, long time. He's in 35 years or so there.
37, I
More.
read. Yeah,
37?
right. Yeah, 37. With the organization, not all in the same role that he had here, but I know he had that role for a good long time, for sure.
Yeah.
So what's the rest of the summer here? You got lacrosse, you got baseball. Is the kid playing hockey?
The boy hockey here.
Yeah.
A little hockey still. Kid's starting to get into the beer league, scene a little bit. So got to go to Chicago here next month for a camp.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to Italy in August. So yeah, little family time.
Italy for hockey or a vacation?
No, vacation.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
They don't play hockey in Italy, do they?
I mean, they're hosting the Olympics, so yeah. I mean, there is.
That doesn't mean they've had the Olympics in China.
A lot of places. It's good.
A lot
Good
of
point.
places.
They play hockey everywhere now, right?
If you got a speeding ticket in Italy, would you pay it?
Probably not.
Bulldog is still sitting on a speeding ticket from Spain last year. He's just sort of waiting.
Plan on going back?
That's the thing. I feel like as long as I don't go to Spain, I think I might be okay.
Yeah, I think you're good. You're good.
He's worried about adjacent countries. He's been thinking about Andorra recently.
At your age now, you should be staying put. You don't want to travel too far from home.
There it is. Hey, Rob, thanks a lot for this. Nice to talk to you again, and I'll see you around the Monsignor Martin lacrosse circles,
sir.
I'm sure.
Yeah, and maybe next time we'll let you win.
That'd be great.
Wow.
All
Okay.
right. Thank you,
I'll
Rob.
work on that.
Good to talk to you, Rob. Appreciate
Happy
the time.
birthday, Doug.